Before we can go deeper into our topic of information systems, we have to look first at definitions and concepts, at terms which we will later on rely. The first definition is the organization. If you have a certain aggregation of workers, then it might be an institution, it might be a facility where you do research, for example, Fraunhofer. It might be an administrative unit, a larger administrative unit. It might be a hospital, or it might be a company. If you talk about such aggregations of workers, aggregation of tasks, then you talk about an organization. Examples are University of Applied Science in Zwickau. The university as itself is an organization. Second example, it might be the hospital Heinrich Braun in Zwickau and Kirchberg. The hospital consists actually of two hospitals, the one in Zwickau and in Kirchberg. And these two hospitals work closer together, and therefore they can be understood as one organization. They share some functions, maybe some administrative function, and therefore they form one organization. Big companies might be organizations. For example, you might know SAP SE, a large software company in Germany, in the entire world, subsidiaries in the entire world. And this company might be understood as one organization. So you see, an organization is somehow an aggregation of people, of workers, of tasks, of business goals, or other working goals if it's not a business. And we understand this aggregation then as an organization. The second term, we have the organizational unit. As the name implies, an organizational unit is part of the organization, only part of this larger aggregation. And this part has somehow a concentration on a certain competency, on a certain set of work duties, on a certain set of tasks. Some people are assigned to this organizational unit, so they somehow work for certain functions, for certain goals, for certain business goals within the larger organization. The organizational unit consists of several individuals. One individual would be possible, two, but usually there are more individuals within an organizational unit. Examples for such an organizational unit is the Department for Public Relations at the University of Applied Science in Zwickau. The Public Relations Department is concentrated only on tasks for public relations. They don't do teaching, they don't do other organizational tasks. They concentrate on the public relations. They publish some texts about the university. Other example for an organizational unit might be the Department for Surgery at the mentioned hospital, Heinrich Braun in Zwickau. And the Department for Surgery is concentrated only on surgery tasks and tasks which are somehow connected to surgery, somehow closer connected to surgery. So it forms an organizational unit within the larger organization of the hospital. And the Department for Marketing, APA, Asia Pacific and Australia, at SAP might be also an organizational unit. The Department of Marketing, APA, is concentrated on marketing activities only for this region, Asia Pacific, Australia. They don't deal with any software development. They don't deal with other organizational tasks. They concentrate on marketing for APA. And therefore we can say this is an organizational unit. Now we look with our definitions into the organization. And again, we have some terms containing the term organization. First, the procedural organization. That means that we concentrate with prescribing procedural organization. We concentrate on the procedures, on the processes, on the doing in the organization. What happens in the organization, what is done. This is called the spatio-temporal aspect of the organization. Spatio means something with room, something with space. Temporal, something with time. So we have something which changes during time and which might also change in the room, in our space of our organization. Spatio-temporal aspect. And if we describe such procedures, then the procedures happening in the organization, then we describe them with a certain business purpose in mind. A business purpose to somehow let the organization live, support the organization in a certain aspect. For example, the human resources department supports regarding the human resources aspect. And these procedures which the department performs are then part of this organization, of this procedural organization. And within this procedural organization, we describe the aspects with different organizational elements. So we can not only describe what happens in the organization, but we also describe maybe who is responsible for the procedure or for the part of the procedure, what equipment is used, what tasks are performed within this procedural organization. On the right side, you see a picture, a graph for expressing such a procedure. You start with a certain event. The order is placed. Some customer placed an order. Then you perform the production of the order, and the order is completed after you produced it. On the right side here, you see that there is the production somehow connected. What does it mean? That means that you have an organizational element. Production is an organizational element, and this organizational element, it might be an organizational unit or a department, whatever you define within your organization. This is responsible for producing the order. The production department is responsible for the production of the order. If you see this, then you see there is a certain procedural organization within your company, institution, within your organization, and this is one important part of your organization. The next term also contains the word organization. It's the structural organization. The structural organization means that you might have some static aspects, static, not changing aspects within your organization, And these are the aspects of your structure within your organization. Your structure regarding the hierarchies within the departments, the hierarchies regarding the managing director, regarding the CEO, and the hierarchies in the organization of the human resources. So this is static because this does not change over time. It does not change very often over time. If you want to make it more precise, because sometimes there's a reorganization, especially larger companies like to reorganize a lot, and then it's not static anymore, it's somehow changing. But then again, there comes a time where it's static, where it's not changing. It's not changing within the organization, within the organizational units. And if you look at the picture on the right side, it's an organizational chart. Then you see there is the managing director. The managing director sits over all departments: sales, marketing department, the production department, the human resources department. Maybe there are other departments as well. And within the production department, there might be a production for Europe, there might be a production for America. If you have several regions within the world you want to serve. There might also be other departments within the sales and marketing department, but let's take it like that. And we see there is a certain hierarchy here within the organization. So now you might be wondering how you could organize an enterprise, how you could organize an organization. And there are some best practices for somehow structuring your organizational units. For example, like seen here, you could have an administration part, production part, and a logistics organizational unit in your company. And the organizational units, the administration, the production and logistics departments, they might somehow concentrate on certain tasks. For example, in the administration, you might concentrate in a department on the procurement only. So you care for buying the things which your company needs. Then you might have a human resources department within your administrational organizational unit. Human resources somehow cares about processes which somehow are related to your workers, to your employees, such that they can be part of the organization, such that the organization takes care maybe also for the employees. Then you have a financials department. You might have a financials department within your administration. It's part of the administration. And financials department, as the name says, concentrates on the financial aspects of the organization, somehow similar to the controlling department, controlling aspects, delivering data to the managing director. And if you look into a hospital, for example, then you might have a patient administration. So you collect all data of the patients. This might be a part of the administration because it's a superior aspect. It's an administrational aspect. It's not a production or specialized aspect for a certain department. Then you might have the production department with some divisions. Here it depends on your internal organization on your company, how you want to organize your production. You could organize it by locations. If you say your products are specialized regarding some regions within the world, for example, then you would divide your production department into locations by into divisions by locations. If you say you concentrate on products which are then maybe delivered worldwide, then you could say you divide by products, you divide your production organizational unit by products. Or maybe you have other important criteria. It might be that you somehow offer a service or uh, similar something similar, then you would divide it by other criteria which are important for your company. And usually you divide only by one of these um, usually you only divide with one kind of division by location or by product or by criteria which are different from location or product. And then this is prescribing your production within your company. Last organizational unit here on the slide is the logistics organizational unit. Logistics concentrates somehow on moving your goods, on moving your material. You might have different parts of logistics, for example, the procurement logistics, which is somehow responsible for getting your material you need into your company, procurement related, or into the other direction to the customer. Then you have outbound logistics. You somehow deliver it from your company to somebody outside of your company. But both logistics departments, procurement or outbound, concentrate on moving goods, moving somehow materials.